Yo guys, what is going on? It's Luki here and welcome back to another video. In today's video, I'm going to be showing you guys the top 10 long range metas to use right now. I'll also be posting a top 10 close range meta video pretty soon, so make sure to go ahead and subscribe with notifications on. I'm going to try and get through these as fast as possible and not waste any of your time. There is also timestamps as well, so if you want to skip forward, go ahead and do so. Without further ado, let's get into the first class, which is, of course, the M4A1. A classic, an OG. This thing has been around for a while, and it's low-key kind of back. I've been using it a lot lately, and it just seems to absolutely shred. This weapon has one of the easiest recoil patterns to control at the moment. It's very little, and it's just a very good weapon. It's also got one of the highest timed kills out of all the assault rifles as well, so it's definitely going to be able to compete with pretty much any weapon. We got the mono suppressor, the grenadier barrel, VLK, commando, and the 60 round mags. The next weapon on this list is going to be the newly buffed AUG. Yes, the AUG has received a buff in one of the most recent updates, and it's definitely going to be starting to be used quite a lot. So the attachments you want to use on this are the agency silencer, the titanium barrel, which is what got buffed. It has an increased fire rate, the Axle 3x scope or the SUSAT multi-zoom, the field agent grip, and the 45 round drum. As I said, the titanium barrel did actually get a buff. If you guys aren't aware, it got an increase in fire rate, so it's got very good fire rate, which increases the time to kill, and it makes it very good. Also, if you guys want to, you can either use the Axle 3x or the SUSAT multi-zoom. A lot of people have started using the SUSAT multi-zoom lately, and it is a very good sight. So if you guys want to, just go ahead and try both and see which one you prefer. We've got the field agent grip, and then we've got the 45 round drum, which is plenty of ammo. A lot of people use too much, and if you use the 61, it's going to decrease the mobility too much. 45 is plenty. Next up, we have the C58, which is definitely one of the top assault rifles at the moment. The FARA, the Krig, all those weapons did get hit pretty hard in the most recent update, and the C58 is definitely still remained in, it's still at the top. It's still definitely usable, and it is a lot better than the Krig at the moment, so I would definitely recommend you guys start using the C58. Another weapon, which is an assault rifle, which is definitely getting used a lot more recently, is the EM2. It is pretty slow compared to what you're probably used to. The mobility on this is pretty bad, but this specific build makes it okay, and it does have very little recoil, and it's got really good range, very good damage, and very good time to kill, so it still is definitely a top assault rifle. But like I said, the mobility on this is definitely slower than what you're probably used to. If you compare it to the Krig, the FARA, and stuff like that, it definitely does have a pretty slow ADS time and a pretty slow just movement speed in general. But that being said, it is still definitely a very good assault rifle to be using after the most recent update. The next long-range weapon is going to be the AK-47. Once again, this does have a pretty low mobility, so the ADS is a little bit slow, and the mobility speed is also a little bit slow, but this thing has one of the fastest time to kills out of any assault rifle in the entire game, which makes up for the slow ADS and the slow mobility. So you want to use the GRAU suppressor, the Spetness RPK barrel, SUSAT multi-zoom, we've got the grip, and then we've got the 45 round drum. I really recommend you guys using the 45 and not the 60, because the 60 decreases the ADS way too much, and the 45 one is plenty of bullets. I also use the speed grip just to make it a little bit more faster as well. Next up, we have the Stoner 63, which is an LMG, definitely one of the best LMGs you can be using. We've got the agency suppressor again, we've got the task force barrel, the Axle 3x or the SUSAT, we've got the fast mag, and the serpent grip. I personally wouldn't recommend you guys using an underbarrel on this because it does decrease the mobility too much and it makes it a little bit slow. It's already a very accurate weapon, so in my opinion, it definitely isn't needed. You don't need an underbarrel on this. Instead, use a serpent grip to increase the mobility. Next up, we have the GRAU, which is literally an absolute laser beam. If you have a bad accuracy, use this and you guys are going to be sorted. This is literally the easiest weapon to have a good accuracy with. It doesn't really have much recoil. It's probably one of the lowest recoil assault rifles in the game. It's also got good mobility, good range, and overall it's one of the best assault rifles to use in the game. You guys are all probably pretty familiar with the attachments, so I'm not going to go into detail with them too much, but here they are if you want to try it out. Next up we have the AUG's brother, which is the M16. On this weapon you pretty much want to use the exact same attachments. The titanium barrel, like I said, did also get a buff on the M16, so the attachments are pretty much the same with the silencer. We've got the speed grip, we've got the 45 round mag, and then we've got the SUSAT or the Axle 3 times. It's honestly up to you, whatever you prefer. I do prefer the Axle, but sometimes I do like to use the SUSAT. It's literally completely up to you. Both of them are pretty much the same, but people prefer different things. Anyway, those are the attachments. Let's get on to the next one, which is the FARA. Now yes, the FARA did get a nerf, however it definitely is still in the top 10 assault rifles to use. I would probably rank this maybe top 5 assault rifles. It definitely is still a usable weapon. It has pretty good damage, pretty good time to kill, and the best thing about it is of course the recoil pattern. It has very minimal recoil, so even if you guys don't have that good of a shot, this is going to be such an easy weapon to use. Like I said, it does have a pretty good time to kill, pretty good damage. It's not as good as like the M4A1, but it makes up for it because it literally has hardly any recoil. And the last one is going to be the XM4. A lot of people have started using the XM4 after the most recent changes. Like I said, the Krig got a big nerf, so a lot of people have moved on to the XM4, and I am one of those people. This is probably my favourite long range class to use at the moment. It's got a little bit more recoil than you're probably used to, but it's got one of the fastest time to kills out of all assault rifles, and it just shreds. Anyway, that's it for the video. Subscribe for more.